Do you think perfection exists in our reality? Let's say a perfect student, a perfect son, a perfect daughter, a perfect family, a perfect form of government, a perfect school, a perfect institution, a perfect marriage, or a perfect, or even a perfect partner. Do you think such perfection like this exists in our reality? We need to believe that there are two worlds that exist: the world of becoming and the world of being. When we say the world of becoming, we're talking about the world that is changing. It's not constant, it's temporary, and it's dynamic. It always changes as time passes by. Okay? And this is the world of becoming. The other world is the world of being. This is something that is opposite. It's constant, it doesn't change, and it's considered that it's as something as perfect. So for Plato, there is such thing as perfection, and it is the world of being. Okay? But the thing is this world of being exists in our reality? Kasi we could say that the world of becoming truly exists. Diba? Because we could see that anything we touch, we see, we perceive with our senses definitely exists. Definitely changes. For example, as human being, we definitely change. As time passes by, physically we change. Psychologically we change. Physically we change from height, we change size, weight, color of our skin, our hair, we change it. Even our personality changes. May it be good or bad change. It proves that we change. So the world of becoming exists from one specific object to the most complex species that you could possibly think of. Change is there. Change is inevitable. Kumbaga. So that's true, we could see it. But how about this world of being? Is it really there? Diba? I'll show to you that Plato is stating something idealistic in a sense, but it is real. We could say that his philosophy of world of being exists. And I'll show you how. This is what you call a paper, correct? Papel. Kahit anong siya, basta siya ay papel. You getting my point? Actually, this paper is in what world? The world of becoming or the world of being? It's in the world of becoming. Why? Firstly, the one who is holding the paper, me, is in the world of becoming. Definitely, I am a changing being. I'm not perfect. Okay, I'm dynamic in a sense. Even this paper. So meaning to say, I can change this paper no matter how I want it. You getting my point? So I could tear it like this. I could tear it again like this. So what is it now called? You may call it a teared paper, basura or what, but it's still a paper. But I change it in some sense, diba? But still, it's a paper. Let me change it again. Let's say I fold it like this. Fold ko siya ulit. How do you call it now? You may say it's a teared old paper, but still, it's a paper. Let me crumple it. Yeah, let me crumple it like this. Okay? How do you call it now? a crumpled tear paper, but still it's a paper. So no matter how I change this one, okay, no matter how I change this, it's still called a paper. I mean to say, there is still this perfection. There is this world that exists, that is constant, like this paper. No matter how I change it, it's still a paper. Getting my point? For example, I changed. I was what? From thin to having this big body, di ba? From my hair, di ba? From my eyes, di ba? From my body, I have now a tattoo. I have now a tattoo, but still I am called Daniel. Regardless of what happened to me, I am still called Daniel. Getting my point? So what is this thing that remains constant, remains perfect in some sense? Well, perfect talaga siya, diba? In the idea or in the philosophy of Plato. Plato called the world of being as forms. Okay? He termed it as the forms. When you say forms, he is talking about here ideas. So the only perfect thing for Plato is ideas. The idea. Kumbaga. Kaya if you're going to go back to my first question, do you think there is such a perfect family, a perfect student? When I say perfect there, I'm talking about ideal. Ideal family, ideal student, ideal teacher, ideal school, ideal marriage. And when we say ideal, we're talking about there's something that is perfect, something that doesn't change in some time. You getting my point? But Plato did not call it ideas. Plato didn't call it even perfect. He called it forms. When you say what form of family, form of student, form of school, form of government, when you say it like that, Plato is talking like it's saying it's perfect. It's ideal. Okay? If you're going to look, do you think it exists or it does not exist? It exists. What happened to the paper a while ago? Okay, regardless of how I change the paper in form, diba? You still have the idea of paper, regardless of how I change it. You still have the notion. Because when you say idea, when you say form, it exists in the mind. Diba? For example, I asked my student before to draw me a boat. Yeah. I asked them to draw me a boat. So I'll show you some pictures. You see?
Over the hills and far from her, she's waiting for love to be realized.
Right? Now, what's the purpose of that activity? If you could see, my students are in the world of, or the one who draw the boat, are in the world of becoming. Definitely, you can see that their drawing varies from one another. Diba? But what remains constant? They have the same idea of a boat. They have the same notion. They have this form of what is a boat. But the thing is, they vary from one another. Why? Because the one who drew it is in the world of becoming. But if you could notice, they have the same idea. They have the same notion of what is a boat. Diba? Plato here shows that ideas, forms, are the thing that is perfect. Though some people does not see the value of having these forms of ideas, but for Plato, in his philosophy, these forms must serve as a blueprint for us. When you see a blueprint, di ba, it's a guide for architects. It's a guide of how would you design a building, how would you create a structure, a blueprint. For Plato, this ideal student, ideal family, ideal etc. should guide us. Regardless if we are in the world of becoming, that we change. But if we have the notion of these forms, these ideas, these perfect things, if we have this and it guides us like a blueprint, di ba? We could attain such perfection if we are guided. Diba? Kasi the purpose of this form is to guide every one of us to achieve a perfect version of who we are. Every one of you has this ideal student, correct? You may answer me in various ways. Let's say, uh, I want to be a perfect student. A form of student is smart, diligent, determined, excellent, diba? Responsible. Kahit sabihin natin na ang sagot nyo hindi pare-parehas, paiba-iba ang sagot nyo. Pero if you collect those answers, if you put them together, okay, the tendency kasi that would be the ideal student. And every one of us wants to be like that. Yan yung point. A perfect family. How would you describe the form of family? An ideal family. Complete. No fights. Everyone love each other. Everyone shows belongingness. Everyone gives unconditional regard. Diba? There is care, etc. Tendency kasi, if you have that, diba? Every one of us wants to have that form of family. School, teacher, friends, diba? Best friends, partner in life. We all want to have that idea. And the thing is kasi, if we have these forms in our mind, we are guided to get it, to reach it. Diba? Kaya nga, the question is here, do you have an ideal self? Do you have the ideal you? Kasi if you have such form of you, the perfect you, diba? It will serve as your blueprint. It will serve as a guide to that version of you. Your actions, your thoughts, your behaviors will lead to that. Because it's a blueprint. But it's a blueprint that will help you get there eventually. But for Plato kasi there is a problem in getting this perfection, this idea, these forms. According to Plato, our mind, our psyche, or our soul is divided into three parts. It's called the tripart of the soul. It's tripart, meaning to say it contains three aspects. Tri. So we have the rational, we have the spirited, then we have the appetitive. Okay? So imagine, let's say, a charioteer. You know a chariot? In Romans time, diba? Or in Greek times, diba? You have a charioteer, the one, and you have two horses. The charioteer, if you imagine the analogy, the charioteer is the one who controls the two horses. Right? So the charioteer and the two horses represents this tripartite of the soul. The rational represent the charioteer. The two horses represents either the spirited or either the appetitive. Okay? Let's talk about this in detail. When you say the rational, this is part of the soul that governs, okay, your behavior. It's the one gives you the moral excellence. It's the one who gives you the ideas of what are the forms. What is these ideals, the perfections? Okay? But to attain this, there should be harmony in terms of the appetitive and in terms of the spirited. When you say spirited, this is the emotional part of the mind. It's the one that motivates us, the one who gives us this energy to pursue growth, development in life. Okay? When we say appetitive, it's a part of the mind that it's physical and biological in a sense. It drives for physical and biological satisfaction, such as food, hunger, uh, for thirst, for water, for clothes. Basta it's all about physical satisfaction in some sense. But this tripartite part of our mind doesn't go along as planned as always. Okay? Some would be more powerful than the other. Some would be weaker than the other. But if you want to attain this perfection that is Plato saying in his philosophy, the rational somehow must control the two because the rational is the one who dictates these forms. Okay? For example, let's say we were walking down the street. Okay? Then I use this common example kasi in class. You were walking down the street, tapos there was, let's say, 1 or 500 pesos lying down there. Okay? Who would win as of this moment if you get it? Would it be the appetitive or would it be the spirit? If you get the money, okay, and if you're thinking about, yeah, I'll buy this for something, mean to say, the appetitive out of that point won that scenario. Mean to say, you took that money to attain some physical or some biological satisfaction. But if you're more of a spirited type, ang nanalo doon, di ba? You would get the money, you will find the owner, but if you cannot find the owner, you would surrender it to somehow with authority kung saan ibabalik yung pera. Di ba? Pero what would an ideal student would do? You're getting my point? What would the ideal student would do? Let's say you're a student, nakita mo yung pera. The rational would say, oh, you're aiming for ideal students. So, which would you choose? The appetitive one or the spirited part of yourself? Okay? Let's have another example. Let's say, wala si nanay tatay. Okay? There is no parents at home. Then your girlfriend asks you to come over. What will you now choose? It's a great opportunity for you to do something because the parents is not around. What would you do? If you did something that is may mali siya, kumbaga, you did sex eventually. Let's be open here. You did sex eventually because the parent is not around. Right at that point, you won as the appetitive one as of that moment. But what if you decided more? You decided more to be a gentleman. Regardless na wala si parent, pinapunta mo ko rito. Let's just watch Netflix. Let's hang around. There's no malice being here as of this moment. Diba? But what would an ideal boyfriend would do on that situation? Diba? Rational would dictate that. And the appetite and the spirit would have a battle now. Maglalaban sila kung sino ang mananalo as of that moment. Sir, is it always the spirited should win? Diba? Kasi for most examples na binigay ko, si spirited ang nananalo. Actually, this should be balanced. It's not always attaining growth, attaining something that is abstract in life. Hindi naman lagi, di ba? It's not for improvement always, di ba? Sometimes we need to satisfy biological needs as well. Hindi laging panalo si appetite. Si spirited. There should be in harmony for you to attain what rational or what forms that this rationale wants you to have. Diba? For example, you're sick. Definitely you're very, very sick. Okay? But you have to take your midterm exam as of that moment. What will you now choose? If you wish to take the midterm exam, despite na minaramdaman ka sa katawan mo, as of that moment, si spirited ang nanalo. Pero do you think it's reasonable? It's very rational as of that moment that despite you having sickness, a disease, di ba? Would you still take the exam? For me, I guess you need to satisfy biological need as of now. The exam can wait. Your health is also important, di ba? Regardless of some situation. Health matters pa rin. Yan ang my point. Diba? Gutom na gutom ka na, but if you want to finish something, okay, hindi pwedeng ganon. Minsan, you need to also satisfy. Diba? We forget kasi body ito at some point. But body in a sense is very important. Despite of fulfilling our passion, fulfilling our goals, diba, in life. Biological satisfaction is the need. That is why if we want to satisfy rationality, if we want to satisfy or if we want to attain this perfection, this form that we want in life, this ideal us, appetitive or appetite and spirited or our emotions should be in harmony. You cannot attain goal on an empty stomach. Diba? Okay? And it's not always bodily satisfaction to satisfy oneself. We need growth. We need improvement. Kaya nga, the question is now, what is your perfect version? What is your perfect self? What is your blueprint? Because the point here is, you must have this form. You must have this blueprint. And how do you attain it? You have to harmonize the need of the body and the need of growth and improvement. So how do we answer the question, who am I? In terms of Plato. Again, we have 3 questions. How do you characterize yourself? How persistent is the self, and how unique is the self? So how do you characterize yourself according to Plato? I am perfectly imperfect. Is that persistent? Yes. Will always be perfectly imperfect. Is that unique? No. We're all like that. We want to have this. We want to attain this. But we have this blueprint in our mind. All of us wants to be the perfect version of who can we be and what around us. So who am I according to Plato? I am perfectly imperfect. So what's your blueprint? That's my question. What's your form? What's your ideal? Ideal you. Ideal family. Ideal whatsoever. And I hope you have this blueprint in your mind to help you, to guide you in your life.